It began with fire, out of place, unnatural, clinging to the freezing air of a Norwegian valley where nothing was supposed to burn. Long before anyone asked who she was, the valley itself seemed to whisper that something here had gone terribly wrong. This place had a name locals feared, a name passed down quietly, as a warning rather than a destination. They called it Isdal, Ice Valley, a place known for accidents, disappearances, and stories people preferred not to finish. On Sunday, November 29th, 1970, a father and his two young daughters entered the valley on a simple hike. It was meant to be ordinary, fresh air exercise, a quiet afternoon before winter tightened its grip on the mountains. The path twisted deeper into the valley, where sound felt muted and the fog pressed closer with every step forward. Then one of the girls stopped, her body reacting before her mind fully understood what her senses were detecting. There was a smell, faint at first, then undeniable, cutting sharply through the cold mountain air. It was not wood smoke, not a distant campfire, not something that belonged in such a remote place. The father moved forward, slowly now, instinct alert, knowing that whatever waited ahead was not ordinary. The ground was scorched, blackened stone and ash where green moss should have been growing untouched. Then the shape came into view, unnatural in its stillness, unmistakably human against the ruined earth. What they found would haunt Norwegian investigators for decades and trouble anyone who tried to understand it. A woman lay there, motionless, her body badly burned, as if the fire had been focused entirely on her alone. The damage was severe, so severe that parts of her body were barely recognizable as human anymore. Her clothes were almost completely gone, consumed by heat, leaving behind only questions and unease. Her face had been burned beyond recognition, denying her even the dignity of being easily identified. She was alone in the valley, surrounded by rock, fog, and silence that felt heavy rather than peaceful. Beside her, placed carefully, were her shoes, clean, orderly, and strangely untouched by the flames. Nearby, investigators would later find a melted bottle, warped by heat, suggesting deliberate exposure to fire. Empty packets of sleeping pills lay close by, hinting at intent, yet raising far more questions than answers. Nothing appeared random. The scene felt arranged, almost staged, in a way that made officers uneasy. The more they looked, the clearer it became that this was no ordinary accident in the mountains. Police were called quickly, descending into Ice Valley, already sensing this case would not be simple. The area was secured, every object marked, photographed, and documented with careful precision. Notes were taken slowly, hands hesitating, as if the scene resisted being reduced to words. From above, the layout looked deliberate, reinforcing the feeling that someone had planned this moment. Small details lingered in their minds, details that refused to make sense together. The fire had erased her fingerprints completely, eliminating one of the most basic tools of identification. Whoever she was, her identity had been stripped away with terrifying efficiency. There were no papers, no purse, no passport, nothing to explain who she had been. The absence was intentional, and that realization settled heavily over the investigation. In Ice Valley, a woman had died without a name, without a past, and without explanation. This was only the beginning, the moment a simple discovery became a national mystery. Every answer uncovered would only reveal deeper, darker questions waiting beneath the surface. Whoever she was, she had gone to extraordinary lengths to disappear completely. And Ice Valley kept its silence. For now, the body was transported from Ice Valley in silence, as investigators hoped the autopsy would finally begin to speak. What lay beneath told a story of extreme heat, suffering, and decisions made long before the fire ever started. The burns were extensive, covering much of her body, suggesting prolonged exposure rather than a brief, accidental blaze. But fire alone was not the only thing written into her remains. So it was found deep inside her lungs, a critical detail investigators could not ignore. She had been breathing while the fire burned. Toxicology revealed sleeping pills in her system, dissolved and absorbed before her death, enough to weaken her, slow her reactions, and cloud her awareness, but not enough to kill her outright. This detail changed everything, forcing investigators to reconsider the sequence of her final moments. Had she taken the pills first, then set the fire herself? Or had someone else been involved, watching as the flames rose? The autopsy offered facts, but no comfort. The burn patterns were uneven, intense in some areas, lighter in others. This suggested the fire did not spread naturally through clothing and terrain. An accelerant may have been used to ensure the flames took hold quickly. That melted bottle near her body suddenly carried more significance. Each object whispered the same message. This was deliberate. Her fingerprints were completely destroyed, removing any easy path to identification. No usable prints could be recovered from her hands. Without them, the woman remained officially unknown. A case without a name is a rare thing in police work. Days later, the investigation took an unexpected turn far from Ice Valley. At Bergen railway station, staff reported abandoned luggage. When police opened the lockers, they found her belongings. 2 suitcases that would deepen the mystery even further. Inside, everything appeared neat, organized, and carefully arranged. But something was immediately wrong. Every single clothing label had been deliberately removed. Not torn, not damaged, cut with precision. Someone did not want these clothes traced back to a manufacturer. The suitcases also contained multiple wigs, each dramatically altering her appearance. Disguises, not fashion, appear to be their true purpose. She carried large sunglasses, often worn even indoors. Makeup was present, but minimal, practical, and controlled. Investigators found currency from several different countries. She did not rely on one nation's money. This suggested frequent travel across borders. The image forming was no longer that of a tourist. There were no personal letters, no photographs, no addresses. No diary revealing thoughts, fears, or intentions. It was as if she had erased herself long before death. Even in her belongings, she left almost nothing behind. The case shifted at that moment from tragic death to deliberate concealment. Too many precautions had been taken for coincidence. Someone had planned how she lived and how she disappeared. The woman from Ice Valley was becoming something far more unsettling. The autopsy and the suitcases answered some questions, but opened far darker ones. Whoever she was, she had lived a life designed to avoid being known, and the trail was only just beginning to unfold. After Bergen, the woman moved quickly, checking into hotels under names that vanished almost as soon as they appeared. Each entry seemed innocuous, yet investigators noticed patterns, unusual handwriting, and deliberate alterations in ink and pressure. Her movements were not random. She crisscrossed Norway with precise timing, arriving and leaving without drawing attention. Trains became her arteries, carrying her between cities, always maintaining a rhythm that suggested careful planning rather than leisure. She used multiple identities, changing names, addresses, even pretending to be different nationalities, each persona meticulously constructed. Witnesses described her as evasive, quiet, and deliberate, watching others more than being seen herself. She disguised herself constantly, from wigs to makeup, as if every day required a new mask. The precision and repetition suggested more than ordinary travel, hinting at secret objectives or clandestine purposes. Investigators began to ask, was this woman merely a mysterious tourist or something far darker, hidden in plain sight? Every item recovered now hinted at control, secrecy, and an obsession with erasing all traces of her identity. Among her possessions, investigators discovered a tiny notebook filled with sequences that made no immediate sense. At first, the entries seemed random: letters, numbers, obscure symbols, nothing resembling ordinary language. But closer examination revealed repetition, consistency, patterns emerging as if designed to be decoded by someone very skilled. Investigators realized the notebook functioned as a cipher, recording movements, contacts, and possibly even sensitive locations. Every hotel, every train, every trip had been logged in a way that only someone who understood the code could interpret. Beyond Norway, she traveled across Europe, checking into hotels in Germany, France, Belgium, leaving behind only fragments of identity. Stamps and passports contradicted each other, fake addresses, mismatched names, altering nationality from trip to trip. Some countries never questioned her. Others barely noticed her presence, a ghost slipping through borders unnoticed. Patterns emerged, showing careful selection of routes, hotel proximity to transport hubs, always minimizing risk and maximizing invisibility. Observers described her as polite, quiet, and perfectly ordinary, yet deliberately fleeting, never staying long enough to matter. Even small details mattered: removed labels, hidden cosmetics, carefully organized clothing, all designed to erase identity. Multiple currencies, tickets from different cities, and travel itineraries suggested purpose, not leisure, almost like intelligence work. The notebook and suitcases together painted a portrait of deliberate concealment, of someone living inside a plan no one could penetrate. It was clear that her life, though brief and mysterious, had been carefully constructed with methodical precision. Each discovery brought new questions: who she was, who she served, and why secrecy had been so absolute. Investigators began to wonder if she had been involved in espionage, perhaps working for a foreign power during the Cold War. Her ability to erase traces, combined with travel patterns and ciphers, matched behaviors observed in intelligence operatives. Every route she took, every identity she assumed, suggested training or experience beyond ordinary civilians. Nothing about her movements was casual. Each step was intentional, minimizing exposure, maximizing anonymity. The Valley Fire was only one piece. Her life outside Norway was another puzzle waiting to be decoded. Slowly, patterns became visible in her chaos, revealing her rhythm, her timing, and the extraordinary care she took to vanish. The deeper investigators looked, the clearer it became that she had lived according to rules only she could understand. Every false name, every altered document, every erased label was a statement. She could disappear completely if she wished. And yet, despite all her precautions, something went wrong, leading her finally back to Norway. The woman from Ice Valley was no tourist, no ordinary traveler, but someone whose life had been meticulously designed to be unknowable. By the time she returned to Bergen, the trail she left behind was complex, international, and deliberately opaque. Every stop, every train, every hotel had been calculated, leaving a web of questions and only fragments of truth. The cipher, the suitcases, the false identities, all pointed towards someone living a secret life hidden from the world. And the question remained, who was she really, and what had led her into Ice Valley? After all investigations, the woman remained unidentified, her life a labyrinth of secrets, leading to theories darker than the valley itself. Some suggested suicide, a tragic escape planned meticulously, pills taken, fires set, leaving no identity, no traces behind. The fire, the pills, and the destroyed fingerprints seemed almost too deliberate, almost too controlled for despair alone. How could a woman orchestrate such disappearance and yet leave a body, charred, in Ice Valley for discovery? Others argued assassination, claiming her movements across Europe, and coded notes suggested she had enemies, someone who wanted her erased. Suicide theory points to careful planning. Her pills, her fire, her erasure of identity, as if preparing for a final statement. Nothing in the items contradicted a deliberate act of self-destruction, yet the precision suggested intelligence beyond normal civilians. Some experts argue she wanted to disappear entirely, leaving behind no personal traces, only questions that would outlive her. Her death in Ice Valley might have been planned as final anonymity, a silent farewell to the world she left. The assassination theory considers her international travels, multiple identities, coded notebooks, and precise habits, traits consistent with espionage involvement. Someone could have been tracking her or eliminating her because she knew too much, leaving her body staged, burned, nearly unidentifiable. Every hotel, every train, every disguise could have been a calculated trap or a cover-up, hiding her true purpose. Forensic evidence hints at external involvement, but nothing was conclusive, just patterns and shadows pointing in multiple directions. The body's placement, the charred remains, the removed items, all feed the possibility that she was silenced deliberately. Her coded notebook remains indecipherable in some parts, leaving investigators with fragments that hint at espionage or secret contacts. Each entry seems innocuous alone, but together they form a puzzle, a life lived in shadows, out of reach of law and logic. Even her possessions speak in code, disguises, altered clothing, and hidden notes designed to erase her from recognition. She constructed herself as unknowable, a ghost across countries, leaving investigators to chase echoes of someone who refused to exist. And yet, for all her planning, one mistake, or one intervention, brought her back to Norway, ending her journey in Ice Valley. Who was she really? A spy? A woman seeking anonymity? Or a desperate soul choosing her final moment alone? Every artifact she left behind teased a story, yet the narrative was incomplete, like a sentence erased mid-word. Her life and death became a riddle, a puzzle that continues to captivate historians, journalists, and mystery seekers decades later. Some mysteries are unsolvable by design, and she designed hers with meticulous care, leaving nothing for curiosity to fully grasp. Ice Valley swallowed her story, and though evidence remains, the ultimate truth may never be known. The Isdal Woman's identity is gone, her life a shadow, her death a puzzle that refuses to yield answers. Suicide or assassination, the theories persist, but no conclusion satisfies, no single explanation captures her elusive existence. Her story is a reminder that some people leave behind not footprints, but echoes, haunting those who attempt to follow. And so the woman of Ice Valley remains a ghost, a cipher, a legend without a name, forever frozen in mystery. Her story ends only for the world to witness. Yet the questions linger, unanswered, chilling, and eternal.